What I'm demonstrating in this video is how to create the scaffold really for a very simple platformer. I don't have any enemies, there's not really any way to die, it's a character running around a platform and climbing up to a target. You could add enemies or barriers and things that can make the game more interested on your own. When you run the project, it just opens a very simple splash screen, which I created in Gemini. It counts down to 0 and then says go, and then the character drops into my platform. Then I can use my arrow keys to run and to jump, and as I climb up through the platforms, you can see he moves as he jumps up through these platforms, and when he gets close to the top, you'll see the little target come into play or appear. Let's try that again. Oh, missed. There we go. And then when you get to the target, all that is a little, well, it's just a target. When you touch it, then it plays a sound and drops you into the next level, and you continue the game. So he's made up of a splash screen, which is made up of a timer, a container, and a extra rectangle for the image, and then a label for the countdown, and you can see there's a script attached to that. The player itself is just a character body 2D. It's got a collision shape. You can see the collision shape I've made just his feet or the lower half of his body so that his head doesn't collide with the shapes, but he'll run on the platforms okay. It's got an animated sprite so that I can have a running character as well as a jumping character and an idle character, so when he's standing still, and those are the three animations that I use. And then it's got a camera 2D, so the camera follows the player as it goes. My target is just another area 2D, and this one has got an animated sprite on it, and the animated sprite is simply the default, which is the still image of the cup and then the pressed, so when he hovers over it the cup expands and moves up and gets all excited. It's got a collision shape, you can see, around the cup as well. I haven't worried too much about the shape of that. It's just once the player moves into that collision shape then it collides. And then I've also attached an audio stream player with a WAV file so that the fanfare plays when the character, when the player collides with the target. Then my levels are simply made up of a platform. The platform is a Tilemap based on this Tileset. Then I've put the player into it. You can see I've put the player on level 1 starting in this position here. So as soon as it loads, he just falls from that position straight down. And then it's also got a copy of the target. Now I've been a little bit sneaky and I've simply saved this level a couple of times. And so on level 2, I've just simply moved the player so he starts in a different position, and then I've deleted a couple of the platforms and added a couple of extras, and I moved the target to a new spot. And so on level 2, the player is going to fall from here down to the ground, and then he's going to have to make his way up to this new location for my target. And I've done the same again on level 3, where I've put the player over here on the right-hand side again, and I've got the target there in a new position. So the player has to move through my levels in different ways, even though I'm using the same level structure. My target has got some code on it which moves between the levels, and so because the target is on each of those levels, all it does is look at the name of the current level, adds one to it, and moves on to the next. And so that way it's able to move between level 1, level 2, level 3, and just by keeping the naming convention, that's going to work. So now we're going to run through how to create it. So the first thing you'll need is the player. So as I said, you need a collision shape 2D, an animated sprite 2D, and a camera on my sprite. If you go into the project and go into the project settings, remember that in the project settings, you want to set your rendering textures to the default texture filler of nearest, and that will get rid of the dithering that appears on the image, and so that will make the the pixel art appears sharper. So change the default texture filter to nearest. I think it defaults to linear perhaps, but if you make it nearest, you'll get a sharper picture. Within your player, as I've said, you can add your collision shape, and so that's just going to be a little shape down the bottom of my player. And then my animated sprite, you can add different animations and import different characters with different animations. As I said in my game, I'm just using the run, the jump, and the idle. You can add other ones if you would like to as your game goes on, and then also attach a camera 2D to your player so that the camera will follow him as he runs around. Let's have a look at the code for the player. So in my code, when you start up your code, or when you load your first script, what you'll want to do is use one of the existing scripts. And so if you say that you want to add a script and use the default script for the character body 2D, you'll actually get all of the movements that you require. So the jumping and the left-right, that will be there in the default script. All I've had to do in order to make my game work is set up a couple of extra little bits and pieces. So I've loaded the sprite in, just like this, on ready var sprite is equal to animated sprite, and so that way I can call my animated sprite in my code. And what I've done is I've added some code down here so that when the action being pressed is jump, then I actually want to change my animation to the jump animation. And so this code here came in with the default script, but I've just added sprite.playJump to the bottom of it so that when jumping is happening, the animation is played. Same thing here, you can see this script here has just come in with my default script, and so it's going to automatically move left and right when the left or right keys are pressed. But underneath this, I've added some code which is going to change my sprite once again. So I've just said if it's on the floor, then check the velocity, and if the velocity is equal to 0, then play the idle sprite. Else, if the velocity is greater than 0, then make sure that the sprite is not flipped. So that means keep him facing in his default direction for the run, which is my run animation. Oh, sorry, there's my run animation. So keep him facing in the same direction and play the run animation. Otherwise, that leaves me with x being less than 0, the velocity of in the x direction being less than 0. And in that case, I want to flip the sprite and still play the run animation. And so that means he'll look like he's running to the left because he's flipped. It calls the move and slide function, and so that will then make my player run around quite happily. So if you go with that default script that's based on the animated sprite, then you'll be able to use, sorry, not that's based on the animated sprite, that's based on the character body 2D, you'll be able to use the character controls that are in that script and just adjust it for this program. For the target, once again, it's made up of those different characters we've already talked about. However, the script is going to load the fanfare. Now remember, if you just find your media file that you want to play, hold down Control, you can drag and drop that to the top of your script area, and that will give you this command. And so the fanfare is the name of my audio stream player in my code. And so when I want to play that, you'll see right down the bottom, or down here, when my body is entered, so when the target body is entered, then it's going to play the pressed animation. It's going to work out a variable called next level, and it's going to determine what the next level is. And so you can see what it's doing is it's looking at the tree, get tree, it's looking at the current scene name, and it's converting that to an integer, and then it's going to add 1 to it. And so it looks at the file of that's currently playing, which would be level _1. It tries to convert that to an integer, and the only part of that can be converted to an integer is the number 1. So it adds 1 to it, and so my next level then becomes equal to 2. It plays the fanfare, it awaits for a timer that's been created for 3 seconds so that the fanfare will play, and then it will move the scene to the next file. So you can see get tree, change scene to file, and it's just looking at res/level underscore and adding the number onto that. So that will be a 2 the first time this runs, .tscn, and so that will then move on to the next level. So that's a fairly simple script for my target as well. Then my level 1, you can see all I'm doing is putting that player and putting that target into my level 1, and because I've got the scripts already attached to them, it will automatically play. Now we've already created a splash screen, so hopefully you've still got your script from when we were creating our splash scene previously. Remember in there, I'll just hover over the code here. So what that does is it sets up a variable called time left and sets it equal to 3, which is going to be the countdown. It initializes the label, it sets up the timer, and then when the function loads, or when the splash screen loads, it sets the label equal to the time left variable and starts the timer. And then every time the timer times out, it reduces the time left by 1. And if the time left is greater than -1, it runs this little section here. If the time left is equal to 0, it displays go, otherwise it displays the number of the time left. Once the time is completed, so it's at -1, it's going to stop the timer and change the scene to level number 1, res level 1 tscn. That's a very quick rundown of what I've done to make this video. I will go through this in class in more detail if you would like to follow along with me. But if you think that that's enough information for you to get started, then give it a go and you can start to create a simple platformer. Some of the things you could do is, just like we've created the target, you could create bubbles, or you could create apples or gold coins or something for our character to collect as they go around. And then each time they collect a gold coin, you could increment the score. So that's a little extra thing that you could add to this game as well. And then you could have bad apples, or flaming fire or something like that, and if they collide with the flaming fire, then they could lose a life, and you could play a die animation or something similar to that. You could also set up timers and all sorts of fancy things on those levels to give them a limited amount of time to complete the level before it ends. So have a go at that, and then you'll be able to build a basic platformer.